Hello and welcome to Backstage Pass here at the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center. Today I'm joined by one of our yoga instructors, Jess Stewie, who is certified in teaching yoga, and she teaches a yoga sport class that takes place on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 8 p.m. in our aerobic studio. And so Jess today is going to give us an introduction into a little bit of yoga and what you might see in her class, and tell us a little bit more about what one might expect at her Yoga Fit class.
Okay.
So, Jess, first of all, just take me a little bit through kind of what your class is like, what someone can expect when they attend.
Okay. Well, we call it a yoga sport class. It's because it's modeled after the Yoga Fit style, which means that it's yoga for the fitness industry. So it's very much focused on just the physical aspect of yoga, getting into poses and going through and becoming more flexible and strong. So we're working on poses from the beginning level to intermediate, and it's a fun, kind of inviting, non-intimidating kind of format.
At all. I know my first yoga class I ever attended was your class on a Wednesday night, and I had never been to yoga before, didn't know what to expect, and you did a great job of really bringing it down to a beginner level, as well as playing up to the people who were more advanced in the class as well.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the format of the class is a mountain format, and there are 3 mountains. That means we warm up, that's mountain 1, and then we kind of go through our sun salutations, and that's our first valley. The mountain 2 is kind of the meat of the class. That's our workout part of the class, and that's where you're going to sweat a little bit and kind of push yourself. And our valley 2, that follows the mountain 2, is a balancing portion where we work on balancing and core strength. And then our mountain 3 is our cool down, typically done on the mat. So that's where we're doing a little bit of ab work, and we'll do a little bit more stretching and twisting, that kind of thing, before we take our final relaxation pose, which is just a few minutes of just breathing and relaxation. So.
Wonderful. And you've mentioned some of the benefits of yoga. There's the core strength. There is the flexibility, and also it sounds like just kind of really relaxing and getting in tune with your body as well. Is that right, Jess?
Absolutely, and it is a great cross-training, a great way to cross-train. We have a lot of runners who come to the class, yourself included, and it's a good way to just keep those muscles limber.
Wonderful. All right, so Jess, you're going to take us through a few movements that one might see at maybe their first yoga class with you. So let's go through a couple things.
Okay, we'll start at the top of our mat in mountain pose. So in mountain pose, typically, I like to think of your feet like bricks, and on the corners of your brick, so underneath your big toe, underneath your pinky toe, knuckles underneath your heels, finding your balance. And working from the ground up, rolling your shoulders back, keeping your knees loose and flexible, and head up high like someone's pulling up on the back of your spine. This is where we start class, and we start just by breathing. And in Mountain 1, it's a warm-up class, so we might stay here for a little while, and then we'll go into movements that will get our body just moving. So we'll take our right leg, tap our right leg, and open it up. So we're facing the long edge of our mat with our feet parallel to the ends of our mat. And we might move through sun or moonflower. So we'll raise our hands up, so make a letter X, and bend, hinging, and bringing our elbows to our knees, and then inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, hinging. This is be moonflowers, inhaling up.
Easy enough. This is not too difficult.
With our breath, and now we'll just add a little bit by exhaling. This time we'll hinge and go all the way and gather some energy from the earth, and then raise up, gather some energy from the sun. And we might move through this for 8 or 10 or 12 breaths until our bodies get warm. And we have a few other movements that we would move through to warm up our bodies before we hit our sun salutation. So on the next inhale, we'll raise it up and come to the top of our mats. And that's an example of what we might do in Mountain 1. So in our valley, that's a sun salutation. So we're good and warm at the end of our Mountain 1. So sun salutation might look something like this. Inhaling, we raise our hands to the sky. Exhaling, hinge at the hips and swan dive to the floor. Inhale, come up to your fingertips, make your back flat monkey pose. Exhale, walk the feet back to downward facing dog and walk the heels out. Inhaling, shift forward into plank, which is like the top of a push-up. exhale, lower, elbows squeezing your sides. Inhale, shift up. And on the tops of your feet, looking towards the sky, up dog. And exhale, roll the toes under and come back in a downward facing dog.
In downward facing dog, this is kind of a basic yoga pose, isn't it?
It is.
You hear a lot of that term.
We're in downward facing dog between poses and between different sets of poses. This is a resting pose. Another resting pose that we can take instead of down dog is a child's pose. So on our knees, shift our hips back, and extended child's pose would be with our hands extended, forehead on the floor, resting. It can be an active pose by stretching our fingers away from our spine and pressing our tailbone toward the floor. Or it can be inactive by taking our hands around and resting at our feet, forehead on the floor.
This feels great.
It does feel good. This child's pose is a great pose. All right, so that would be at kind of our valley too. And if we come back up towards the tops of our mat, we might work our way through a mountain two. So this is the work part.
Wonderful. So that's kind of just a brief introduction, and I know we could do a lot more. I think we could do this all day. So much fun. So I invite, if you're interested in learning more about yoga and trying some of these poses that we just tried, we invite you to come to Jess's yoga sport class Wednesday nights from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the group fitness room here at the DLCCC. So thank you, Jess, for joining us, and we'll see you at class soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching Backstage Pass.